Hi, I'm Larry Hanover. I'm president of the Congregation Bethel Men's Club in Voorhees, New Jersey, and I'm also co-author of Rebuilt from Broken Glass, a German Jewish Life Remade in America. It is the memoir of Fred Behrend, who is sitting here. He escaped the Holocaust after Kristallnacht in 1938. His father was interned in Sachsenhausen, in a concentration camp, and they only escaped on the condition that they leave the country as soon as possible. And I wanted to share with you this picture in a publication from his hometown of Ludenscheid, Germany, which we just came upon after publication of the book. Robert Stern is the store that his parents owned in Ludenscheid, and you can see from the 1933 day of boycott, the Nazis lined up in front of the store. So it's a really dramatic showing of what happened back then. But we wanted to talk to you about the Yellow Candle program. And so I just want to ask Fred to talk about why it's so important to have this Yellow Candle program.
Well, my story is very simple. When I talk to people, I always mention to begin with the fact that when I was 12 years old and going to a Jewish school in the city of Cologne, when we reached the date of November the 9th, 1938, which I remember as a day from which the youth of a 12-year-old child was robbed. I lost my youth and ended up as a refugee with absolutely nothing and no hope whatsoever. I was boarded with two children who went to the same school, and on our walk to school the following day after November the 9th, we passed two synagogues that were in flames. We watched the police and the fire department standing by without doing anything, with the exception of making sure that the buildings next to the temple would not catch fire also. This we did with the first temple and with the second temple, and then we finally reached the school. And when we got to the school, lo and behold, the school was burning down also. Now, when I talk to the kids in school, which I do regularly over here, I always ask them, what do you think was happening to my school? And then I tell them that the school was in flames and also burning down. I always make sort of a joke out of it and tell them that that was the happiest moment of my life, because can you imagine? No homework, no teachers, no school. All we had to do was to go home and play. However, the serious part of this particular day only happened on our walk back to the apartment where we lived, where we arrived just in time to see the parents of these two children being dragged down the stairs, thrown into trucks, and taken away. The reason for that was that a law was passed about 3 or 4 months previous to this, that Jews of Polish descent, wherever they were found, were to be deported and sent back to Poland. So these two nice people were dragged down the stairs, thrown into these trucks, taken to the railroad station, and immediately transported back to Poland. These two children never ever saw their parents again. It was only years later that we found out that a couple of days after arriving in Poland, they were killed. These two children and I, being all by ourselves in this apartment now, didn't know what to do. I called my mother, who sent a car to pick me up to take me back to my home city, which was Lüdenscheid. And the two children, believe it or not, were rescued. And they were rescued in a very interesting and special way. Apparently, there was a group of people in England, and they were called Quakers. We had never heard of Quakers, but this group was a group of Quakers who, when they found out of what was happening, They formed a small group by themselves, went to Germany, and one of these groups went to the city of Cologne, and wherever they found children whose parents were taken away, they took them with them, took them to England, and placed them with families who would later on adopt them and take care of them. And this is how they survived for the Holocaust. How they survived and what became of them, I can always tell you later. But getting back to the candles which we are trying to promote,
Yes.
they should remind not us, but our children and people that are actually not aware of not just the Holocaust, but the things that happened in the Holocaust. That when they see these candles and when they see them lit, they should remember the horrors that came with us. They should remember that 6 million of us were slaughtered, and fortunately, my family, we were a large family in Germany, but there were only 15 of us that made it safely to the United States. And here in the United States, so not only did we survive the Holocaust, but when we came to the United States, we also thrived. We were helped tremendously by Jewish organizations like HIAS and Joint Jewish Distribution Committee. If it would have been for them, we would not have been able to survive even here in the United States. So it's very important that through every means, as for argument's sake of lighting a candle during Holocaust Remembrance Day, that not only your children but your children's children will remember those that, not only those that were killed during the Holocaust, but to remember also those who survived and who came to this country, to the United States, and through their efforts made this country what it is today. Because the gains that were made over here in the United States by the efforts of those refugees who came with nothing should be remembered, the same as we should remember those that perished during the Holocaust.
I want to thank you very much, Fred. I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity and for watching us tell this story. And we hope that you will greatly support the Yellow Candle program. Thank you very much.